Hey guys, welcome back to the Old Paths. So glad to have you here. I am Caleb. If you're a new viewer, so glad to have you here at the Old Paths with us. We sell stuff on eBay. We buy, try to sell, make a little money. We just love having you guys here along with us for the journey. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about what to do when your eBay sales are dead. What do you do? So stay tuned. We'll talk about that. Have a good time right here at the Old Paths. All right, guys. I so appreciate you being here, supporting us, helping us. You're always so encouraging in the comments. We don't get a lot of negative feedback. You know, I know we have some friends in the community that talk about some of the comments they get and how negative it can get out there. And I'm like, I don't ever have negative comments like that. So I don't know how that feels really. And I'm not saying that I've never had a negative comment. I've had a couple of people come in and say, I don't like the color of your shirt, or I don't like the way you did this or did that. One guy said, you put that cord in the wrong place. You know, that's all here and there. Doesn't bother me. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there that will comment stuff just to be commenting stuff. And just negative because of being negative, just for the sake of being negative. And I don't have a lot of that. I have a lot of encouraging followers. You guys are encouraging. You've encouraged me to get back in the grind of making videos. You know, prior to 2 videos ago, I hadn't made one in 2 months. And I was just thinking, you know, I need to update them, let them know what's going on here. Yeah, we have the podcast, Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. But I also have this channel and wanted to try to breathe a little bit of life back into it. So we dropped that video, then we dropped the second one, which if you haven't watched the last video, me and the kids, we ride around in the snow, we have a good time, we go back in the woods, a lot of fun. So if you like that kind of stuff, check the last video out. It's, you know, from the second half of the video to the end. We really enjoyed that video and hope you do too. But we do want to talk about what to do when your sales are dead. So I'm experiencing right now, and I've been trying to draft today and get stuff, my draft bank built back up. If you're not familiar with the draft bank, that's just where you basically list an item, but you save it for later. That way, when the time comes and you're ready to drop X amount of listings that day, you have however many you've drafted. Right now, currently, I have like 97. I'm trying to get back to 100 today. Hopefully a little bit more than that, but at least to 100. I'm doing 10 a day, dropping them to active listings until I reach 250 in my draft bank. 250 in the draft bank is as many as you can have visible. Page 1 Foot Flipper pointed this out one time, that you can have more than 250. They just won't show up until you get rid of the previous however many, then the other ones will start showing up. So I don't like to go over 250 just because you don't know what's going on. You know, it's kind of hard to keep up with the visibility of things. And I get it. eBay can't keep 10,000 of my listings in an active status in a draft bank. They can't do that for 180 million sellers, or how many sellers, but 100 and something million users. That would be a lot of data to store. So I get it, and I don't expect them to. So 250 drafts is where I like to cap it. And once I get to that 250, I'm going to start dropping 20 a day. 20 a day until I drop down below 100 drafts. If I can keep it above 100, I'll keep doing 20 a day. Just keep, because, you know, 20 a day, it don't take long to wipe them all out. But what do you do when your sales are dead? So I've been drafting. I've been doing all that. I've not sold anything yesterday. I've not sold anything today thus far, and it is 3 o'clock Central Time. That's very odd for me. I usually sell at least a couple, 2 or 3 things a day anyway, period. So I got to thinking, well, what a good time to do a video on what to do when your sales are dead, because I know it's the first quarter, it's January, it's the middle of January. You know, tax money hasn't hit yet. People aren't spending a lot. There's lots of stuff going on. Eggs are $10 a dozen. I mean, good grief. There's lots of stuff going on. So what am I going to do that now that my sales are typically usually okay, but right now they're totally dead? What am I going to do about it? Well, I'm going to give you 4 things today. 3 of them are whether you want to do it or not. It's totally up to you. I find that they do help me, but I'm already doing them, so I can't do them again. But number 4 will be the most important one, and it may sound corny, but I hope you will understand what I'm saying. So number 1, if you're not already, try promoted listings. Promoted listings is basically you paying eBay to push your search result higher than it already is. So if you're on page 7, you might show up on page 3. I don't know, I may be not exactly right on that, but promotions does get more eyeballs on your items. That is the whole point. You're basically buying more clicks. There's a couple ways to do it. There's promoted standard, which pays, you pay when you make the sale if it sells through promoted listings. Then there's promoted advanced, where you pay per click. So if you have 10 clicks on that item and it was a quarter a click, or I don't even know how much it is, you're paying that amount up until it gets sold. I do not do promoted advanced. I don't like the pay per click model. It leaves too much open. You can lose all your money. Promoted standard, where I'm paying for the general promotion of the item, maybe it costs me $2, $3 or whatever to sell my $50 item, but I sell it 5 times quicker, or I sell it 5 times more. I'm more likely to sell it, rather. That's what I do. I do promoted standard on that. And I do see a pretty good increase in sales, probably about a 5-time increase in sale. Now, I promote high. I don't suggest everybody promotes this high. If you're not getting your items for 5 to 10% of cost, like you're paying 5%, if you make $100, you paid $5 to buy it. If you're not getting your items very, very low, I wouldn't suggest promoting high. But I promote above 10%. Most people do 5, 6, 7%. I'm a little above 10%. And I can do that because right now I'm at a buying cost of around 5 to 6%. When you can do that, you can afford to bump up. That basically bumps up your buying cost. Now I'm up to 10%, you know. And by the time I pay shipping and everything, what am I going to get to keep at the end of the day? It's generally around 50%. Now 50% to me is a really, really good return on my investment. If I spent $10 and I get to sell that item for, let's say, $100, and at the end of the day I get to keep $55 of that, and I'm guesstimating my math here, I am totally happy with that number. If I'm buying it for $35, selling it for $100, and I only get to keep $50, then I made $15. I'm not as happy with that number, and there's nothing wrong with selling things in that that line of sale, to where you're making less profit. If that's what you like to do, you're buying newer items, or you're doing retail arbitrage or whatever, that's fine. But I don't do that. I buy at yard sales, thrift stores, estate sales, anything like that. And I'm not against private picks. I do that too. Not against buying stuff in the store if it's cheap enough. But I do promoted listings as a way to help bump up my sales. Number 2, I do try to run sales on my items from time to time. Sales don't necessarily get your items in front of more eyeballs. They don't really do that. But the eyeballs that see them see the benefit of, well, I could save 10%, 15%, 20%, 30%, whatever. Most resellers I know, they don't put stuff on sale until it's been in their store for 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever, and they try to move out old inventory. I've done that too. I've also done all my inventory to try to really spur on some kind of event, sales event in my store, and it has worked. It has helped. So don't be afraid to try a sale. Don't go crazy and run a 50% sale today. Maybe try 5 or 10% off sale. Try something kind of relatively low that you're not necessarily going to hurt yourself if you do sell 20 items. Sales are a good way to help boost your overall sales. Coupons also, which also falls under sales, is another good thing I like to use sometimes. I like coupons because coupons gives you the option, once you set up a coupon sale, excuse me, that you can send that coupon to your store followers or to your buyer groups that you establish. You can send that on to any of those groups that you so choose to send it to. For instance, I have a coupon sale going right now. I think it's for 10% off, and I sent it out to all my store followers. That's 800 and something, 850-ish store followers, that they got an email saying, hey, the Old Paths is having this coupon sale right now, save 10% off store wide. And they can say, hey, I'd like to go see what he's got. And they come in and they look around, and if they find something, they get an extra 10% off. So it's a good way to reward those that are faithful and loyal to you, or to set up buyer groups. If you sell a ton of video games and you've got all these video game customers, you can put them in that group, however you want to do it. But the most important thing is this right here. Number one thing you should always do. All right, I don't know if I look any different, but I just want to be honest with you right now. My battery died. That's why the camera might look a little different. But the number one thing, right back to where we was, the number one thing you should always do, and even more so when your sales are dead, this would be my number one advice to you. Stay consistent. I'm not going to quit listing just because my sales have not shown up in 2 days. I'm not going to say, well, there's no reason to list today. I've not sold anything. I'm going to keep dropping my 10 or my 20, or if you're doing 5 or 3 or however many you do every day or every 2 days or however many per week or whatever you do, stay consistent. I have learned in my 20 years on eBay and my 4 years of full-time, really full-time, that eBay is going to reward you for consistency. I've seen times where it dies. I've seen times where it explodes. I can't explain to you how the algorithm, or if you watch the Two Old Guys Reselling podcast, the Al Gore rhythm, go watch, you'll see what I'm talking about. I cannot explain why eBay works the way it does, but I know that there is a correlation between your consistency and your activity on the platform resulting in more sales. The more you're on there, the better it seems to do. The more you list, the more you search, the more activity you put on their platform, it seems like the more you get back. I'm not saying you need to go buy 50 things and list 100 that you might make more sales. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know for a fact that there is a correlation between activity and result. Cause and effect, if you will. So do not give up when sales get bad. Don't say, well, that's it, I'm going to take a week off. It's not the time to take time off. It's the time to ramp up. Actually, if you have the option to do so, list more. If you have the option to do so, work more. If you have the option to do so, do more than you're doing, but stay consistent. Don't drop out of the game right there. Don't say, that's it, I can't do it, it's falling apart, I give up, or whatever. Just stay with it. And I promise you, you'll be happy that you did. Because I have seen sales go to nothing, and then I've seen them come back a week later and explode. I can't explain it. I don't know how it works, but I know it does. So stay consistent. When all else fails, stay consistent. And I believe that you will see good results from it. All right, so I appreciate you guys being here. If you are new to the channel, we sure do appreciate you being here. Drop a comment, hit that thumbs up, subscribe. We appreciate you. We're so happy to have you here. And this is just a little look at what we do. We are a family-based eBay company out of Tennessee. We sell on eBay and sometimes other places, but not too much. But this is our warehouse right now. In the spring, we're going to sheetrock and finish it out, floor it. But for right now, this is what it is. And it's going to be much better than it is even right now. It's warm, it's workable, I can do it right now. But here comes spring, we're going to sheetrock this guy. We're going to floor this guy. We're going to make this thing finished out and totally done. Bedroom up there, that's going to be a bedroom for 2 kids. They'll be sleeping up there. And we're going to have a really nice space out here. So I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful for it. I am very thankful for what we have in this building. It could be smaller, it could be tighter, it could be we don't have anything. I'm thankful for it. I just do miss my shed sometimes. That was such an awesome shed. We just went above and beyond in the old shed, making it something special, and I hope to do that here again. We're insulated, we're wired, We have our heat and air unit in, and we're getting ready to do the rest very soon. So stay tuned and you'll see all that stuff coming around. But I hope to get back to making videos more than I was, you know, more normalized than I was. So appreciate you guys, and we thank you so much for all your support. Until next time, keep seeking the old paths.